season 11 is really the last carryover season of kind of the what I would say the boring era of Sea of Thieves. So we have like season 9, 10, and 11 were really those updates that were meant for preparing the game for the PlayStation launch. And now that the PlayStation launch is almost here in about 2 days, it's now time for the game to really get back on track, be more fun like it used to be, and just having great updates again. I really miss the updates of the past with stuff like the Ancient Volts update, the Ships of Fortune update. That was a great one. Um, there's the I think it was Heart of Fire. Heart of Fire I think is my favorite update that brought the chain shot in, a tall tale. That was a really great one. I think out of the three, I would say the boring era seasons, it's probably the best one in terms of actually doing something interesting with the game. So we'll start off with the big headlining feature. We have the diving mechanic. I have very mixed feelings with it. So the diving mechanic, on the one hand, it's a nice way to speed up your time playing the game. If you're starting Voyage like I did here, I started off at one of the outposts. I think it was Daggertooth that I started off at. I did the Legend of the Veil, and then I just dived all the way to the Devil's Roar, and that saves like a good 5 to 10 minutes. The only thing that's like the saving grace for me with the diving mechanic is that I love the raid voyages. I think the raid voyages was their smartest idea for like a year now. Like, there's nothing else that has been added to the game that I have enjoyed more. Uh, and that's saying a lot because I think it's just been a bad year with Sea of Thieves. When I say year, I'm not just talking about 2024. I'm talking about like a full 365 days, all the way going to like season 9. Um, Season 9 wasn't bad, but it lasted way too long, and it didn't add any new gameplay. And that's my other main problem with Season 11. It didn't add new gameplay. All it really did, if you think about it, is give you more levels to grind for, which, cool, fine. People will like that, but it's, not new gameplay. And it gave a diving mechanic, which makes getting places easier, and I think it helps newer players. But on the other hand, it hurts tucking. And I don't think I talked about this yet. I was talking about it when I thought I was live by accident. The tucking in the game, it used to be that you could go to, an outpost or something if you see a ship there, and you could jump off your ship and go and board them. And with season 11, that's kind of ruined because if you go and board and you're tucked on someone's ship, and then they decide, okay, we're going to go ahead and do a voyage, now it's going to warn them not only that you're there, but then if they try to do that voyage, they can't, or else they have to kick you off. What the complaint that I heard everyone saying when season 11 first came out is, well, you can still, sail to the voyage and stuff. You don't have to dive. You don't have to. But let's be honest. How many people are going to go through the effort of not diving? I'm going to dive. I mean, I'm the type that will criticize this kind of stuff, but let's be honest. I'm not going to, go on some moral high ground and, not do it just because, can't. Like, it's the same thing with when I was talking about season 7. Like, the Sovereign, I kind of was a little bit against the Sovereign because if you think about it, it doesn't incentivize you to go to the trading company representatives anymore. I'm not sure what the right word would be, but it's almost like the excitement as well as like the anxiety of trying to make sure that you buried, or not buried, you sold all your stuff as quick as possible to the different representatives, or else like someone might be showing up. With the Sovereign tent, it makes it so quick that it's not even like difficult to do anymore. It's not even stressful. Like if there's another ship in the area and I see a Sovereign tent, I have like enough time. Yeah, I'll go sell. Whereas before it might be like, okay, we need to go take these people out before we sell. And I think that's an aspect of the game that's gone. So that I found disappointing with season 7, and I think that's continued with season 11. Raid voyages and new types of loot, best part I agree. Yeah, the new loot is also great. So, like all the like the high level um, loot and stuff that you get is really awesome. I will say, I think everyone, including me, was upset about the lower amount of treasure that you get with season with like the different voyages, especially the raid voyages stuff, as opposed to before. But I do like having less stuff to grab and having it be higher value. It feels worse, but it's basically the same as before. My favorite aspect of the game is tucking. Even if I'm not trying to steal stuff, like just hiding on someone's ship, it's just a fun experience, and that's really ruined with season 11. Not only like for like, trying to go and hide on people's ships before they start a voyage, but let's say about like the raid voyages. Let's say someone goes and does a skeleton fort. Back in the old days, it used to be that if you saw a skeleton fort cloud in the sky, you could sail to it, and someone would probably be either like just starting or like halfway done with that fort. Now, because they're able to dive right to it, they can get started immediately. They start doing the fort, and then you have stuff where it's like by the time you get there, they're basically already done, so you can't even really tuck anymore. Another aspect of this that I have a problem with the diving mechanic in general is what Rare sold us on is, hey, there's going to be more treasure in the game because, treasure is easier to get, dive into things makes it easier. That's true and not true at the same time. Back before diving was a thing, people used to stack their treasure. So, they might go and do like multiple world events back to back and then have it all on their ship. Or they might do like back to back Legend of the Veils and have a huge stack of Athena chests or other stuff, even the Fort of the Dam. And some of that stuff, is still there. People still like to do the Fort of the Dam and they kind of repeat that. But I've seen less and less of the Fort of the Dam over time. But with the raid voyages or just diving for voyages in general, it makes it so that you can't keep that loot on your ship anymore, which is a good safety mechanic so that people aren't just like diving and getting away when they're being chased in that respect. But the flip side of that is if you go and attack someone's ship, you're going to get far less treasure than you used to on average because they're only going to have a little bit on them at a time because they have to keep selling if they want to dive again. And I've experienced this myself. There is times that like I'm doing the raid voyages and I would like to do the sea fort raid voyages, and if it were up to me, I would just dive and keep going and doing a few sea forts before selling because I'd rather just do that. I think that's a lot more fun, but that's not possible anymore. If you want to do the Athena sea fort, you have to dive to it, and if you dive to it, you have to sell your treasure. So that's really that aspect of it, and it's the thing that I think is that and the tucking aspect are the worst parts of it. Like you said, it's less treasure, but worth the same, if not more gold. Not sure if you're talking about that from what I was talking about before or with this aspect of people selling often, because people having to sell more often makes it so that there's less treasure overall, even considering like the reduced treasure of season 11. Just the fact that like it used to be that people would stack multiple voyages or world events all together, whereas now that's not really a thing anymore. I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the regular season pass, because really the only thing that I care about with the season pass is that you just it's really just the frog lantern that I think I care about and anyone else cares about. And I think the frog lantern is really great. Like this thing is really cool and fun looking, and I love like the little like almost like firefly aspects, like kind of flying around it. I think that's really cool, and then it just looks awesome with the different flames of fate. Other than that, I think some of the like the Medusa type stuff is cool, like the little hairs with the snakes in them and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool looking with the stone curse next season. But I thought the season pass as a whole was just kind of lackluster, and I thought the plunder pass was pretty bad. The only reason I got the plunder pass, to be honest, other than to do a review on it, is because you were able to get the 1,000 ancient coins from like that and the season pass. So it made sense to me to get it, but I didn't like either of them really. Everything. Okay, so I guess in terms of the trading company expansion, that is another aspect that I think was pretty great with season 11, which is why I think it stands out compared to like season 10 or season 9. If I were to rank them, I'd say it's like season 11 at the top, then season 9, and then season 10. And that's mainly just due to like what impacts my day-to-day gameplay. Season 10, I'll do the Skull of Siren song, but most of it just has no impact on my day-to-day gameplay. The guilds have really no effect on anything. And save for Seas, I really don't touch at all. Season 9, I think, is great for some of the stuff it did, especially with the harpoon, being able to just basically grab it and put it next to you. That is a huge time saver. But it's the biggest problem with all of them is, while Season 10 had new stuff to do, it wasn't anything that anyone really cared to do. The Skull of Siren song is usually uncontested every time I've tried it. And Season 9 and 11 didn't add any new gameplay. So finally getting more Skeleton Curse cosmetics was great, which they added some each season. Was that season 12 that they're adding it? I must have missed that. Or did they add that more in season 11? I don't think I was paying attention to the cosmetics specifically for the Skeleton Curse. So you can let me know about that. Yeah, I think season 11, this is part of the other reason why I didn't make a video. Not only did I want to talk about it, like with y'all in chat and everything, I thought that would be a lot more fun. There's just not much to talk about with season 11. It's really just kind of a dud season. It's really one of those seasons where, hey, we knew PlayStation was going to be added at the end of this. We knew the game was going to get better after season 11. They told us and promised us that season 11 was like the last foundational update for preparing the game for the new players. So it was not an exciting season, and it wasn't exciting even the first day. Usually with like a season, like the first like leading up to the season, and then like the first month and a half, I would say, all right, a lot really exciting. Then like like another month after that, it's like, okay, I'm fine, but I'm kind of getting ready for something new. And then like the last like half a month towards the end of the season, you're just kind of like, okay, give me something new. I'm really excited for what's coming next. With season 11, I was already in that last category where I was like, okay, I just need season 12 to come out because season 10 was a dud. Season 9 was like a drag. It took way too long. It needed something. And honestly, if we're being honest, if we're talking about like what they could have done better with season 11, I understand it takes time to like develop new features. Like obviously everything that we're getting in season 12 is a lot of great stuff, and that takes time to make. There's things they could have done with season 11 outside of what they already did that would fundamentally change the game and reinvigorate some of the aspects of the game. They did that with the raid voyages. I think that reinvigorated stuff like the skeleton forts, being able to dive to them and do like the whatever your trading company that you're doing, getting only that specific trading company loot. That's something that reinvigorated those things in the game. And even just, the expansion to the trading companies in general is a way to somewhat reinvigorate those because it gave you a purpose to doing that stuff. But the biggest thing like that I could think of off the top of my head of what they could do to really reinvigorate this stuff that would be an easy fix, honestly, is with the Hourglass mode. Added in Season 8, it hasn't really had much change at all since then. And I know it's had major cheating problems and stuff that people have talked about. I have not experienced it that much, but I also don't play it that often. Mainly because, and I think the thing that they could change is it needs a time limit, and I think it needs like a shrinking radius of fighting area, because the problem that did y'all hear that? I don't know. The problem with the PvP mode is you can go and play it, and maybe your battle lasts 10 minutes, and that's great. Other times you get in it, and it could last 4 hours, and you're just like, I thought I was just doing something that was like a fun, fast, quick battle. And it makes me really miss Arena. I don't think we're going to get Arena back, but the best thing with Arena is that it had a time limit on it, and you could predictably say, okay, I can play another round of this because it will take, X amount of time. With PvP mode, I don't even touch it anymore, because if I have half an hour to an hour to play, I cannot guarantee that, another round in the hourglass, if I'd have time to do it. And what you don't want to do is, give up and just like let the other person sink you, because if you do that, you lose any sort of progression that you've had for that time that you're playing the hourglass. Stuff like that. I'm sure there's other things that I might not be thinking of. There's other little things that probably would not take too long to develop. I'm not a game developer. I develop apps and stuff, but I'm not a game developer, so I don't want to say, okay, it's this easy to do or whatever. But something like a time limit or a shrinking circle shouldn't take that long to develop, as opposed to, say, a wholly new feature or something like that. And I think there's other things that they could do across the game to make other aspects more interesting. Make something with the, tall tales. Do something with that to like make it so that's a little bit more replayable. I don't know. I will say I really do like this UI. I think the UI is nice. While I do miss talking to the trading company representatives, like this just feels better than a lot of their UI decisions recently. Oh, by the way, another thing they could have done to make Season 11 better is fix the UI across the board. Like, honestly, that the home page, trying to get onto my ship, just takes way too long to just get into the game. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but so basically one of my plans for the new season is doing a new season of Play Like a Pro. It's something that maybe newer viewers probably don't know about, but I did that a few years ago. And essentially it's just like a handful of guides covering different aspects of the game. And basically the plan is for this season of Play Like a Pro is to cover all the new tools and changes that are coming in Season 12. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'm about like halfway done with making it. And those are going to be rolling out during... I'm hoping to basically do it so that a new video comes out every day of the week starting tomorrow. We'll see if that happens. I'm hopeful that that's going to happen. But that is something that I'm pretty excited to have come out. And I think will hopefully be helpful to people. But yeah, I guess if no one else has any more questions, I'll go ahead and end the stream. But thanks everyone that hopped in and hung out for a bit. It was really fun. And I think we'll do more of these in the future. But, all right. Well, bye everyone. I'll see you next time.